pretty easily.
Okay, and I am at this point going to show you the actual portal and, just kind of navigate around that to show you. So I just want to acknowledge that's kind of the next step, but I wanted to check just real quick if anyone had any questions before moving on to that. Looks like no.
How long is the onboarding process? What is the timeline? How long does it take?
Yeah, I would say it takes between, it can take 30 minutes if you want to squeeze it in. It can take up to 60 minutes if you're someone who wants to take kind of more time with it. So I would say it's 30 to 60 minutes. There's going to be individual differences in kind of your approach to it. So how do you think that would fit in with your current flow? Does that range seem reasonable?
I think 60 is way beyond the range. 30 and less ideal, but again, I think we have, I don't know who's initiating it, so I guess it would depend. If the MD is initiating it, then I think the time will be a factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it certainly can be done quicker than that. I'm just acknowledging, some people want to spend more time with it than others. It might dig in a little bit more, but there's no reason that it has to take 60 minutes is what I'm saying. And in certain circumstances, it can't, as you're saying. So yeah, I will go ahead and start showing this to you, and we can probably take it from there. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So this is Brightboard and what it will look like when you log into it for your site. This is a testing version, and there's slight differences than the ones that you'll see, but these are not huge differences. And you'll have your own login for your specific site, so other people aren't seeing your specific patients and so forth. So when you click on the participants tab, we do have little things to just kind of help us rate, your satisfaction with things. And so you can close that or you can complete it once you see that. But I just close it for now. So if you want to add a new participant, you can, and actually, no, Megan, they will be just getting ID numbers, so you won't even really have to add participants. They will already be in the portal, correct? Yeah. Okay, so for you, once you get that email, so say your patient is Candace Brown, you will get an email that says your patient Candace Brown has now consented to participate in the BrightPath study. Their user ID is 168. So you would come over into here. They've already been activated here, but you can see, you can grab down their user ID and their password here. There's an option to start the self-assessments here, and we can also, once you click activated, it would automatically load the guide to Bright, but you can also just click on user ID and it'll go there. This is one that was already completed, so I'm just going to go back to the first page to show you what it looks like when you first started. Oops, sorry. I clicked that one thing too far. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is it basically guides you through each of the different steps. The first one is just orienting to Bright. So it's very simple. How do you think Bright might help you? And for any of these, if you click on the little eye here, it pops down and gives you additional information. And it's worded in a way that you could directly just kind of say this if that's your comfort level. And of course, you can paraphrase it, put things into your own words. But this is really just meant to be there if you're kind of thinking, what does this mean? There's additional information there that you can have the option to pull down. And essentially, you do have to put something in every text box here in order to move on, but it can be really anything. For example, you could say reduce distress and move on from there. This section is about identifying warning signs, what you experience when you start to think about, and you could personalize it for whatever crisis situation or issue that they're having coping with stress. These are environmental strategies. So what can you do to avoid said warning signs or triggers, and how can you structure your environment to help you cope with stress and keep safe? Typically included within structuring your environment for safety, if there are things around kind of checking for access to guns or other weapons or those kind of safety procedures, this would be something that we were, typing in here in terms of how we're managing that as part of their safety plan. In some of your cases, I do want to acknowledge that maybe you've already done a safety plan or you've already established some of these things. In those cases, it's okay to kind of like type in, essentially what you've already done and not kind of recreate the wheel or ask, that client essentially to recreate the wheel. You can just kind of give a little description of that as well.